We're gonna have a talk today. You may not have heard of this. I've never heard of this. And I just got I'm getting a lot of messages, a lot of downloads, a lot of things that I need to talk to you about. Are you ready for this? We're gonna talk about what they don't want you to know. This is why this percentage is awakening and this percentage is not. You have to be aware of this. It is what they don't want you to know or do. It's going to take some effort on your part. It's going to be so worth it. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fear and live an amazing life. Wow, do we really need people to tell us how to stop the craziness, how to go into happiness versus how to get out of sadness? Yes, that's part of the game. Why? Because humanity is in a low frequency of unconsciousness. That's all. It is not what we are, it's what we're experiencing. I hope that you'll subscribe and share my videos, because today there's something they don't want you to know. Because if you catch on to this and you do what I'm going to tell you today, your world literally will change. What don't they want you to know? My birdies out there are happy. Yeah, right, they're happy. Why? There's no story going on. There's no falcon or seagull going, hey guys, flamingos, you got a problem. We're going to talk to you about it. You're looking pink. You're looking a little too pink. I learned why they get pink, by the way, when I was in Bonaire. All right, if you know Joe Dispenza, he talks about the rewiring of the brain. What is that? We are still a physical being. Whatever you're doing right now is conditioning yourself to keep doing it over and over again. Even if it's unpleasant, it is a habit, and you must detox. You ready for this? What do they not want you to know? You are addicted. We all are. You could be addicted to the meditation, to the good feeling, to the beautiful things that all of a sudden you've rewired and the other stuff isn't good anymore. You could be addicted to the physical world. Most people are. The addiction is in what you're eating, what you're using, what you're buying, what you're putting into your body, behavior. You could be addicted to arguing, conflict. You could be addicted to violence. It is a real thing. It is meant to keep you in there, because as long as you believe it and do it and get some kind of a response, good or bad, you will continue to do it. And let's just say, the dense people behind these products and services that provide that addiction that is on a lower frequency don't want you to change, because they're addicted. They're addicted to the power, to the money, to the greed, to getting, and it is never sustainable. It is never satisfied. The ego is never satisfied, because as soon as it gets something, it is conditioned, it is geared. Its job is to just keep getting things for the individual. Service to self. Every single person on this planet has this addiction. Now, what we want to do is to detox ourselves. How do we do it? I was thinking about this, and this download came to me for this video. And that is, I have a water filter, because I'm tired of going to the grocery store with this big old container. And I thought, wait a second, do I even really know what's going in that container? It's spring water, but hey, we're on a toxic planet. That spring water may not be all that. Where's that water coming from? And have they tested to see what's in it? I am hauling this thing back and forth, and I realized, wait a second, this is expensive. And I started to do my research, and I realized what was in our water, and we're addicted to it. literally. Opiates, pharmaceuticals, chlorine, poisons, toxins. There's a whole list of things that are going to be floating around on this video right now. 80 of them. I about fell off my chair. And so we say, well, you know, that stuff's cleaned at the plant. No, it's really not. It's drinkable. In other words, you won't die, although you could. And I realized there are methods out there. We don't even know what we're doing anymore because we're trusting the sources without doing our homework. You are addicted, so what happens is when you make choices and you educate yourself and you detox yourself off of whatever it is, it could be anything. It's usually the physical world, right? We start with the physical world, what we put on our skin, what we eat and drink. We're addicted to it. Literally, our foods here in the United States are loaded with sugar. Corn syrup. What was it? There's this, somebody was saying there was a whole series or movie, I can't remember what it was. It was on television, that somebody was going to take down the whole U.S. All they did is put corn syrup in everything. And it was true. And that is actually what's going on out there. Anybody who's using plastic is drinking this poison. And then we're getting sick. And it's always spring water in plastic. And it's going out there. And there's a whole structure out there that financially benefits from all of this. It doesn't have our best interests in mind. And it blew my mind that we are living in such a toxic world and we don't educate ourselves on this. And those who educate us, they get shut down, turned off, dissed. The whole industries, like in the medical industry, like they take people's licenses away. They ban them. Why? Because they're in fear. They're in fear because they are in the addicted space of low frequency that tries to protect themselves. They're in ego. And ego will protect even if it's wrong. The addiction now, the detox that has to happen for you is every area in your life. So what will happen is you're going to want to go back to whatever somebody tells you you have to take to be healthier. You actually don't, okay? There's some things you can do, but you can do it naturally. Even organic foods still have chemicals in them. What do? We have to do our homework. Start asking yourself what you're doing right now, and it could be a habit of poor little me, the victim, the depression, the names and labels. This is a big one. This is one of the biggest addictions out there. Labeling myself as ADHD, PTSD, blah, blah. There's things I'm going, what is that? I don't even know what half these things are. And the commercials, is your A12ZQ off? This will fix your NTZ. And people know what this is. It's conditioning. It is taking you into the addiction that this is how things operate. And if you take this, you might have all kinds of symptoms that could be way worse than that rash that you're taking this for. It's insanity. And we're addicted to it. We're addicted to the games, and we give our kids the games, and they're in there gaming, and they're killing, and they're shooting, and they're destroying, and sometimes they're the good guys. They're usually the good guys, right? So they're programmed to believe that there's good and bad, and that people need to be destroyed if they don't abide by our rules. And they take it to an extreme level, right? There's no solution in that. There's no how do we stop this from happening? Oh, we'll just take them out. So then we go into the world and we believe that that's okay, right? And so we are conditioned. I was watching the television titles of all the shows, and they were pretty negative. They were so bad, and I thought it's because we're addicted to that. And so the really happy shows, there's some comedies, there's some great stuff out there, right? They're usually called reruns. And anything like even Twilight Zone reruns, super cool, really hit home, right? It's time to detox, and it's physical, It's mental, it's spiritual, and you have to cleanse yourself of anything that judges, separates, and has a negative nature or a label. Labels are one of the most dangerous things because it's separation. It tells you that you're not okay. As soon as you go into an office of any kind and you're given a diagnosis of what you are now programming yourself to be that. And I tell my students, well, all entrepreneurs throughout history, especially inventors, had 101 things going on at one time, but they say, oh, well, this is bad and I can't focus. I have ADD. I said, yes, a dynamic disposition. That's what makes you so great, because you have all these beautiful ideas. All we have to do, and you guys are interested in digital explorers, all we do is we create businesses by helping you focus on what's the most important first, but we never remove all those ideas. We don't get rid of them. But in that world, you're married. How many times? How many jobs have you had? Think about this. So the solution in society is, if you're unhappy, stay in unhappiness, because change is bad. So you committed. Yay! You committed, and you committed again, and maybe you commit again. Okay, you say, okay, maybe I'm committing too soon. So you learn from it. It's neither good nor bad. You have a lot of jobs. I've had a ton of jobs. I've been self-employed since I was 19 years old, except for when I was with Neuberger Berman, Lehman Brothers in the financial industry. 20 years doing something I didn't love. Why? Because the world is like, you're going to quit that? You're an investment banker. Holy crap, you're on private jets. Yeah? What's your point? It's not what I loved. I gave all of it up. Guess what? I wrote a best-selling book. I have a television movie. I created businesses online. I'm more successful than ever, not because of money or rich. Some of you say I'm rich. I'm sorry, I'm not living in I had a 7-bedroom, 7-bath house. That baby's long gone. I'm living a simple lifestyle because my joy is coming from changing lives out there and showing you how to do it. But it's still your choice. You have to detox. So I'm like the counselor that says, here are the things we need to look at, but you have to implement them, because you're still going to want to get into the arguments, go to the job that gives you all this prestige and money, but you come home really burnt out and sad. You don't have purpose. You're going to want to eat the food or take the drugs of some kind, or keep buying to satisfy this never-ending hole that's the ego. And I know it's tough. And by the way, it doesn't mean you have to give up having a glass of wine or eating a dessert or doing some things that maybe are a little out there. None of that defines you. None of that defines you. The physical world is to be enjoyed. It is created by us. It's beautiful. Sitting out there in nature and really taking in the beauty of these physical creations. It's perfect. Even relishing and appreciating the challenges is beautiful. And you move on. All right? The addiction is when you stay in it. You stay in it because the world out there that controls that, that's trying to control that on a low frequency, wants to keep you in there, because fear is our biggest, let's just say, controlling challenge. And that's your choice. Nobody makes you fear. Nobody makes you think anything negative. Are you addicted? Yes, everybody is. And you'll have addictions where you say, okay, I need to change this and this and this in order to go into that space, that next floor that I want to go into. And so you're going to have to monitor it, and you may, for the rest of your life, have a tendency to want to go to. And I'll give you an example. My mother came from not an abusive home, but her dad was bipolar. And she was much younger than her siblings, so she was really neglected. Her parents really like, oops, mistake. She was really felt isolated, and her dad was either the most wonderful person or just weird as hell. And so she never knew who she was dealing with. So she had this unstable childhood of oops, weirdness, and oh wow, loving, and yeah. Well, back then they used electric therapy, you know, and so they didn't have the drugs. He'd go into the, they call it the nut house, get his electric shock and come back and be normal again. It actually does work. Well, what happened is she was used to instability. Is this you? It's an addiction. There are studies that children who are abused will prefer to go back to the abuser than somebody new because they relate it to the love. Love is abuse. So they know that it's addiction. My mother decided she was never going to have an unstable household, and so she created something amazing for my brother and I. My parents were wonderful. They were stable. There was no arguing going on, no craziness. Of course, there's always, no family is perfect. But we had family night. We ate together. There was, there were rules. And my parents controlled what we saw on television. It was always very positive. Now, my mother started to create some problems. She'd pick on my dad. And eventually, and it wasn't a big deal, but it was noticeable it was happening. Eventually, on Saturdays, the family would go and drop my mom off at this doctor's office and come back in an hour. My mother finally told me, I think I was like 10 or something like it. My mother finally told me, this was so cool. She said that she came from an unstable childhood that was nothing she could count on. So she said that she's actually found out that she's recreating that because she knows it. She is brainwashed. She's conditioned. She's addicted to it. And so she had to stop herself and realize she's causing problems with my dad, who there was no reason to cause problems with him. He's a great guy, right? There was nothing to argue about. Stable, loving person. So she had an addiction for the rest of her life. She would create problems, and she had to stop herself from doing it. So she had to recognize the addiction. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. People who have drug or alcohol problems, they're actual alcoholics or actual drug addicts. They have a true addiction, physical addiction. It's for life. You know this. So prepare yourself for this. Every human has this addiction. And it could be violence, controversy, arguments, change. Sometimes we're just addicted to change. If you gain from it, if there's something good, if you're into expansive mode, it could be a very positive one. But you have to look at it and ask yourself if it's an addiction. We have to detox. And all that out there doesn't want us to. Because when we do, we stop consuming the poisons. We stop watching the poisons. The news. People are addicted to the news. It's not real. It's all programming because those in power are telling them what to say so that you'll buy certain stocks, so you'll go into fear, so you'll stop believing somebody, you'll turn on this, or you'll stop believing that organic or anything natural could possibly be good over this institution that's making billions and trillions of dollars off of you. That to stay well, you have to pump yourself full of stuff that's poison. And I'm not telling you what to do. It's an individual choice. I'm telling you to look good and hard about everything that's in your life, in your house, and the detox, going to good things, could create the detox effects. When you go into meditation, you have to detox the negative thinking. You have to let it go. All right? And so I went into a super awakened state, and I went into the fourth sight. That's when you actually don't even see things the same way. You don't relate to your body. You're actually not in it. You're expansive. When you're walking around, you're actually sort of looking down at things. It's bizarre. You can't relate to talk. You don't even want to talk. You can't relate to being human anymore, right? So I came out of that. So when you go into that space where you're detoxed, you're still living in the toxic world. You have to make higher choices because no one controls this. No one controls the power that you are. You created this. You chose it. You chose everything that you've come into contact with. You have to go into empowerment to understand what you are. If you don't, you will continually be a victim and believe that I can tell you the future of the planet, and that's how it is. And it isn't. It's just one probability. Mine is beautiful. It is a challenge. It doesn't always feel good. It's really difficult because the more you detox, the more you recognize how addicted the planet is to all of this insanity. Why are we going into negativity right now? Because people want conflict. They want to separate. They want control. They want service to self. This is not an easy task, my friend. It's time to detox. Do you have names for yourself? I even heard people say, oh, I'm Buddhist. I said, well, the fact that you just said that tells me you're not. I'm Buddhist. I said, well, Buddhists name nothing. A true Buddhist would never call themselves a Buddhist. It's a category. It's a separation from things. So if you truly want to go into that space, you will name nothing. Right? You will not have PTSD. You will be somebody who went through a situation that you can change. Well, once you label yourself, take the drugs, see the counselor, or you're different, you're damaged. You're not damaged. You can pull out of this. I am not saying that any of that stuff isn't real or serious. Of course it is. But there's nothing you can't change, and you have the power to do that. Yes, we need one another. We need the help. Go get the help for any of the addictions that you have that you feel you can't handle yourself. Community is powerful. Detox everything. Everything. I have a channel called Chic Sustainability, and I show you that you can pretty much live a life with things that already exist out there and not continue to pollute the planet or your body, anything. You can make higher choices and live in a beautiful, chic, sustainable world. You can do it right now. This is not an easy journey, my friend. You chose it. I'm counting on you. Time to detox. And when you do, you will feel so free and expansive. And it starts with the physical world, with the thoughts and the programming that you need anything out there to be okay. You are already whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Those of you who want to become digital explorers, we take entrepreneurs who are looking to change their lives and the world. We build online businesses based on passion, purpose, and positive impact. But I teach you how to be a business person. Yes, I take my success and I show you that you don't have to be a tree hugger out there that has no say. You can be a business person that changes the planet, your life, and be abundant, because as an abundant person, you can be powerful out there in the material world. You can make a difference. Don't be afraid to do that. That's another programming. The addiction to, well, the Bible says this. Guess who wrote the Bible? Men. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Guess what I found? Where did I get this? The 4 complete books of Edgar Cayce, the Modern Prophet. Holy cow. Prophecy, psychic experience, mysteries of the mind, and reincarnation. I think we need to delve into this more. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. You are perfect. Everything else is the addiction. We have to rewire the mind. It'll keep going back to it. You have to stick to this. If you want to go to that penthouse, you can do it. Namaste.